help you make a really cool plant drawing. Here's what you're going to do. Now the cool thing about plants is that you can see that they have a cool root system. So they have a whole underground system that you can't see, that's under the dirt, and then all the beautiful parts of the plant are on top. This is an aloe vera plant, and I love gardening, and I just pulled it out, and like I said, you can see where it was buried, right about here, down the root system. And up on top here is the plant part that you see above the ground. Now this plant in particular just has greenery, but some of them are flowers, and they have the same types of roots or similar, and they have all the flowers on the top. So we're going to draw one today. The first thing that we're going to draw together is the ground. So what we're going to do is we are just going to draw kind of a wiggly line across our paper that's going to represent our dirt or our soil in the ground. Now when you're planting a plant, you normally dig a hole right about there, and you bury your seed under the ground. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually draw our little seed. So my seed is going to be kind of like an ear shape, and then I'm going to connect it around. It looks like a jelly bean. So I drew my seed that I planted underground. And we're drawing it this way so you guys can see the steps of how the plant actually forms. So after the seed is planted and you add water and it's getting sun, you're going to have roots that start to come out from the bottom of the plant. And they kind of branch out, and they're growing from your seed. Now right now, we're going to draw our roots bigger. In the beginning, the roots aren't as big as what we're drawing. They're just small like this first one. But we're going to draw them to make them much, much bigger. And we're going to pretend that this plant has been growing for a really long time. And when you draw your roots, they can really be any way you want. They're just kind of wiggly lines. And then you trace right next to your wiggly line and draw like the end of a root. Your end of your root might look like this, like a little mouth. It could be a straight line. It could be kind of anything that you want the end of your root to look like. So I'm going to draw some that just have little lines. I'm not going to make two lines next to them because those are going to be my smaller ones. But I'm just going to draw my root system. And it goes all different ways because the roots actually help the plant stay sturdy and not break. It's like the strength of the plant under the ground. And these roots are what help feed the plant too. Because when water seeps into the ground, the roots drink it up. Think of them like straws, and they're drinking up the water and putting it into the seed. So once you like how your roots look, and you can add more than me or less, it's up to you, the plant kind of opens up a little bit and a stem starts to pop out of it. So I'm going to just draw a little stem right now, and I'm going to draw another one right on the other side of it. I'm going to copy it. Now if you want to get really detailed, I'm going to draw a little curve and not across my stem and around the back side, because that shows you that your seed opened up to let this stem come out of it. And now our stem is poking out into the ground. So now if this was really in your backyard or in a garden, you could see whatever the plant is coming up from the earth. So we're going to keep drawing, and we're going to make our stem go up, 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 up. We're going to pretend it's been growing for a really long time, and I'm going to stop right about there. I don't want to go too high. And I'm going to make it go up, 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 copy my line. And remember, again, this is like a giant straw. So all of that water that comes down in the rain and goes into the soil goes up the roots and up the stem of the plant. So now what I want to do, I'm going to leave this space up here blank because we're going to draw a flower up there in a minute. But I have some other stems that start to grow as my flower gets bigger and older. They grow out of the side, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm drawing a line and then a line right next to it. It's like a copycat line. And I'm going to draw one on this side and over here. And I want you to guess what comes out of these stems. If you guessed leaves, you're right. So now we're going to draw a couple little leaves. So I'm going to draw kind of a U shape on there. I'm going to draw a U shape on this one. And I'm actually going to add another leaf, but it's going to be kind of attached to my stem. I'm going to draw a U shape right here. And if you want to add more leaves after to fill in your plant, you can. So I drew my U shape, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them up to a point and match it on the other side. I'm going to bring it up to a point over there. And I'm going to bring it to a point, and I'm going to match it over here. And all the leaves have kind of a different shape. So if yours looks a little bit different, that's completely fine. You might want to curve one around to make that leaf kind of curving around so they can all be a little bit different. Now the details on the inside of my leaves, I'm going to put a line through here because this is like a vein in the leaf, a little mini straw that gives the water to the leaves. And on the other end, when the sun comes down, the leaf helps take energy from the sun and feed the plant too. So it gets its energy and food two different ways. And I'm going to draw some little lines on my leaf to make details. They're kind of just like V's on the leaf. I'm going to draw some more V's. And over here. Perfect. Okay. So the next step is we are going to draw our flower. So for our flower, we're going to do it a little different. We're not going to draw a flower like a circle and all the lines around it. I'm actually going to start with the petals of the flower. So I'm going to draw an oval shape right here. It looks kind of silly right now. And I'm going to draw another oval right next to it. And my ovals are kind of overlapping. Now, as we go around, my ovals are going to change. They're not going to be ovals anymore because it's going to be a different side of the flower. I'm going to draw a third oval over here and one on the other side. And I'm going to go let it go behind my leaf because I don't want to overlap it because that wouldn't look right. The next step, before I draw my leaves in the back, I'm going to draw the center of my flower. So I'm going to do a big rainbow arch right here on top of my flower. This is where there's the pollen of the flower. So you can add little dots to represent the pollen of your flower. So the rest of my leaves that go around are not going to be big ovals that go up. They're going to be a little bit smaller. So on this side, I'm going to let it come around, and it's almost just like a little arch, like a rainbow. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, a little rainbow arch. And up here, they're going to be very small little arches. So I'm going to overlap. I'm going to draw a little arch here and a little arch here. So you can see that my leaves of my flower are kind of going down towards the ground. So you have drawn a beautiful flower. What I'm going to do now is go add some details to it. So I'm going to fast forward, you can pause it, but that way you guys can add whatever details you want to your flower. Okay, the last step is I want to label all of the plant that I did. Now, if you like your drawing and you want to keep it like this, you could put little labels on a piece of paper and set them on top of your drawing, or you could recreate it with the labels or without the labels. So the first thing I want to label is I want to label this right here. What is this? This big straw thing that we talked about. It's the stem. So I'm going to write the word stem right here. Perfect. Now down here, all of these cool things that we looked at, what are these? They are the roots. So I'm going to label my roots. And remember, the roots are what help bring the water up, the straws that help it. Okay, this is the first thing that we planted in our garden or outside. What was that? It was the seed. So we're going to label our seed. And we have two more things to label. These awesome things right here that also help get energy to our plant are the leaves, and the last awesome thing we're going to label is right up here at top. It's the prettiest part. It is our flower. And remember, I told you not all plants have flowers on them, but a lot of them do. Our beautiful plant that I showed in the beginning doesn't have flowers on it, but sometimes they will have little flowers. But you can see the roots that we drew. The seed, it's really small to see. It's right here. That's where it started out, was the seed, and the roots grew out of it. Most of the time the seeds aren't big anymore, but you see it's growing other root systems off to the side. And above, all of these different stems are helping bring the water and nutrients up to the top of the plant. The very last step is to color. I'm going to fast forward and color for you. Here we go.